So we start off the season with the news that Man United have had a takeover. Rafael Gutierrez has successfully completed his takeover of Manchester United Football Club, replacing the Glazers. And this was very much needed because if we saw the financial situation of last season, we were £300 million in debt, making a loss of 121 million in the previous season, and the financial status was insecure. But after the takeover, we're now rich. They paid off all of the debt, literally all the 300 million, and gave us an extra 67 million on top. So that's what we've got in the bank now. We've got 20 million transfer budget, which isn't great, but you know, it's better than nothing. Now, the new club vision, what do they want us to do? So they want us to work within the wage budget, of course, grow their reputation, sign players sell for a profit, and spend the original transfer budget, which shouldn't be difficult given how small it was. And then in terms of like the competition, they want us to challenge for the Champions League. Of course, we want to win it, and they want us to qualify for the Champions League. In terms of Glory Hunter, we just want to win the Champions League. That is all we need to do. Now, moving on to what we have done in the transfer window, the first bit of business we did was extend the loan of Ivanilson because of how absolutely incredible he was last season. We've actually extended it until the end of next season. So we've got him for this season and next season, which is crazy. We've also made 4 new signings. So the first is Nestor Tinoco, an 18-year-old centre-back that we paid literally just £2 million for. And yeah, you can see he's 1.5 star at the moment, but potential ability of 5 stars. So not too bad. He's also Colombian, so that helps. Mental, not great. Determination is only 10. Concentration, 13. Work rate is 15, which isn't too bad. So we'll see how he develops. The next signing we paid quite a bit more for, and we paid £15 million for him, Arda Güler, 20-year-old attacking midfielder. And these are his attributes. He is amazing, to be honest. He's 2.5 star already, 5-star potential, 16 determination, 16 flair, 17 vision. His technicals are already pretty decent, so I reckon this guy is actually going to turn out very, very good. The next guy is someone called David Garcia that we paid 750,000 for. Honestly, I didn't even get a proper scout report. This was just, he was cheap, and I thought we could go for it, see what happens. And you can see from his attributes, it probably wasn't the best signing in the world. He's 1.5 star potential, 2.5. Yeah, other than that, not really good, but I mean, we only wasted just under £1 million on him, so not the end of the world. And then the final signing we made was for 15.5 million for Angelo, 20-year-old wonder kid from Brazil, 2.5 stars current ability, 5-star potential. We'll just have to see how he develops. Could be a key player for Manchester United going forward. Of course, with Glory Hunter, we don't actually really need to be making these sort of signings, but, you know, it's nice to leave them with a few wonder kids. We also made another signing, Ricardo Ferreira, 11.75 million, 2-star, 5-star potential, another wonder kid. Again, none of these guys will be using this season probably, but yeah, overall, just nice to leave a bit of a legacy for Manchester United when we eventually leave. So yeah, no first team signings, so the main tactic you can see on the left there is pretty much the same as it was last season. It managed to get us to within a point of winning the Premier League and getting to the final of the Champions League, so really no point changing it up that much. And one final signing we've made is a loan signing of Kieran Trippier from Newcastle, literally just as a last resort backup because we didn't have many people in his position. So, you know, he could end up pretty decent for us, especially with all the fixture congestion that we're going to be getting, given how many competitions we are playing in. Now, the first match we played was the Community Shield against Liverpool, where Fernandes got himself sent off in the 7th minute with a horrible tackle, and then Casemiro gets himself sent off in the 73rd minute. Declan Rice manages to score a goal in the 89th minute, and then Frimpong from a pass from Salah in the 90+1 minute, so we end up losing 2-0. First Premier League game is against Sheffield United. They open it with a penalty, so it's actually 1-0, but then just before half-time, Savic gets the equaliser there. Almost gets himself another goal, but Sancho is there to make sure it goes in. And then in the last few minutes of the game, Ivanilson with a lovely goal to make it 3-1. The next game was against Arsenal. We opened the scoring. I was a bit confused there with the red kit. We opened the scoring with Fernandes and then an incredible free kick there from Ødegaard to make it 1-1. We then beat Brentford 1-0, beat Leicester City 2-1. And then this is how the table looked after those 4 games, with us sitting on top with 10 points and actually Southampton in second, which is interesting. Sadly, we had to sell Malaysia literally on deadline day. It was Tottenham that came calling. 30 million, we couldn't really refuse, and he also said that he really wanted to go, and we would have had an unhappy player if we didn't sell him. But it's not all bad, because we took the 30 million that we received and spent 21 million of it on his replacement, Luca Pellegrini from Hertha. And then if we have a look at the attribute comparison, Pellegrini is the green line, so you can see we've actually saved some money, got a replacement who's better in the air, vision, physical, everything else. He's, as good as Malaysia was, so not too bad. And then this is the overall transfer window, so 67 million spent, 33.5 received, a net of just over 30 million, which, to be honest, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Our next Premier League game saw us draw 1-1 to Newcastle. And then it was our first Manchester derby of the season, where Anthony starts off the scoring in just the second minute. They managed to get one back, not long after, to be honest, in the 14th minute. But then in the dying moments of the game, in the 84th minute, Jadon Sancho manages to make it 2-1. We then draw 1-1 to Leeds, have another draw, this time 0-0 against Liverpool. And then finally, we actually win a game against Southampton, 3-0. Next up, we play Chelsea at home with the weirdest goal I've ever seen. Sancho just kicking it over. Seems like the goalkeeper just forgot to do any goalkeeping. And it happened again. Mendy just didn't bother trying to grab the ball. Evanilson uses his head, gets it in. Mount then responds with a crazy goal. This is all within the first 7 minutes, by the way. And then our defender is caught napping. Lukaku manages to make the tackle to make it 2-2 at this point, I think. Anthony, though, passes it through to Fernandes, kicks it in the goal to make it 3-1. And then Evanilson, of course, to make sure there is no doubt of our win, makes it 4-2. We then play Watford, which was not quite so goal-heavy this time. Dybala, incredible pass there through to Vitor, who then makes it 1-0. And then we beat Aston Villa 2-0. And then drew against Crystal Palace. Next up, we face Everton at home, where we have a bit of a scrappy first goal. Comes off the defender, but Rashford is there to pick it up and get it in the net. But not that long after, Dele chips our keeper and makes it level. But were we going to lose to Everton at home? Of course we weren't. Baku puts it through the legs of the keeper, makes it 2-1. And then Evanilson, of course, he's going to score, isn't he? He makes it 3-1. But that's not enough. Fernandes gets a penalty, and this is all in the first half, by the way, to make it 4-1, and that's how it ended. We were then home again against Bournemouth. We won 3-0, and then we're up against West Ham, our first away game for a little while, and Vlasic puts it in the goal in the first minute. Rashford, of course, though, literally 4 minutes later, makes it level for us, but it sadly wasn't enough, because Anthony has the maddest slide tackle I've ever seen and gets himself sent off in the 81st minute. Not the 81st, the 61st minute. And then Vlasic gets his second goal of the game to make it 2-1, and we lose to West Ham. And this is what the table looks like after those 16 games. So we're trailing Tottenham by about 2 points, so not terrible. But I still don't want Spurs to win the league. Moving on, we then beat Norwich with a 90-plus first-minute winner from Savic. We then beat Spurs away from home 1-0, which is, as you would imagine, very crucial for our title fight. And then we beat Wolves 2-1. So that's 3 wins on the bounce. And then this is what the table is looking like after that. So with our 1 loss, we're sitting at the top with 44 points. City with 43, Spurs with 43. It is very tight at the top. It'll be interesting to see what happens by the end of this season. But our next game sees us beat Wolves 1-0. We then have the big game, the away game against Liverpool. But Evanilson finds himself in acres of space and gets the first goal in the 3rd minute. Casemiro almost gets tackled there, but Rashford picks it up. Evanilson then uses his head to make it 2-0. And then Anthony finds Evanilson again, gets himself a hat-trick in just 22 minutes. Just 22 minutes. They do manage to get themselves a consolation goal there right at the end from Frimpong, but it doesn't matter. We beat them 3-1. And we then play Southampton and beat them 4-1. One of their players gets sent off in a 90-plus 3rd minute. Seems a bit stupid, doesn't it? And then Villarreal have come after us. They have offered us a contract, a 2-year contract, 32k per week. If it was the end of the season, we might have thought about it, but no. Absolutely not. We have all the chance in the world to win the Champions League with our Man United squad, so that is exactly what we're going to try and do. So the next game, we beat Sheffield United 4-1 at home, and then Leeds United 3-0. Another big game this time round is Arsenal, where we are away from home, and I do not know what is going on here. It bounces between a million players, and eventually Jesus manages to get it in the back of the net. And then, of course, he's going to do it again, isn't he? Well, he didn't do it, but he got the assist, and that was it, 2-0. Now, during all of those games, it was the January transfer window, but I didn't really show you much of it because we didn't really do anything. We got no players in, No players out other than a few loans. One, because we didn't really have any transfer budget, but two, because I didn't feel like the squad needed improving in any places. We're doing pretty well at the moment. Now, back to the games. We played Spurs and beat them again, this time 2-0, so we beat them in both of our fixtures, and that means we topped the table with 62 points. We've got 6 points between us and second place, so we have certainly extended our lead a bit. Next up, we played Chelsea away from home, and Mount opens the scoring there. Oh, no, it's not Mount, was it? It's Sterling. Mount got the assist. He opens the scoring in the 10th minute. Ivanosen, of course, he's going to get a goal, isn't he? Makes it level, and then he gets us the win. Ivanosen, absolute star player, absolute star player. We then play Norwich in the away fixture this time, beat them 2-1, and the table, after 28 games, we're sitting at the top, now 8 points clear of second place. We then play Bournemouth away from home and beat them 4-0, and then it's time for West Ham, where we are at home this time. Ivanosen uses the head once again, gets himself another goal from a header. We got a corner there that I think was their corner, right? Yep. And then they get a goal, makes it level, sadly. And then Sessegnon gets a 90-plus first-minute winner, so now we've lost to West Ham twice. Not good. Anyway, next game, we beat Crystal Palace 2-1 this time, and then we play Aston Villa and also beat them 2-1. It's now time for us to play Watford at home, and can you guess who gets the first goal? By now, I think it's a broken record. It was Ivanosen. Fernandes passes it through to Anthony. Beautiful through ball, beautiful goal, 2-0. McTominay, long ball over to Anthony, who decides he's going to get himself another goal. What is this, the 86th minute? I don't know what happened there. Basically, Nianjo just ran it into his own goal. And then Rashford in the 89th minute, 4-1. Absolute thrashing of Watford there. But Savic is injured for 3 months. 3 months. He's had 21 appearances, average rating of 7.37, and he's now going to be out for 3 months. And this is the 19th of April, by the way, so he's basically out for the rest of the season. Nonetheless, the matches have to go on, and we play Everton, where that is literally the only play of the game, and we lose 1-0, and then we draw against Leicester City 2-2, and then it's time to play Brentford, where, can you guess who's going to get the goal? It's Ivanosen, of course. That was just after the second half, and then he does it again. Another chip on the keeper to make it 2-0. And with that, we've won the Premier League. We have won the Premier League for the second time. Not the second time in a row, because we were 1 point behind Liverpool last season, but we have won the Premier League. In terms of the Glory Hunter, it doesn't actually matter because we'd already done it, but, you know, it's always nice to win the Premier League again. So, with the Premier League won, let's move on to the other competitions, and the first one is going to be the FA Cup, where we've been drawn against Wolves. Anthony passes it on to Rashford, gets the first goal in the 8th minute, so we're leading at this point, and then Rashford does it again, so 2-0. Looking good. Or so we thought, because not too long after, just after half-time, they get a goal back. So at this point, we're 2-1. We're still thinking, you know what, we might have a chance here. And then 2-2. Not looking good, really not looking good. And then in the 70th minute, they have a free kick from just outside the box. And yeah, we lose. We've been kicked out of the FA Cup. Now, can we do any better in the EFL Cup? Maybe, because we beat Chelsea on penalties in the third round. We then beat Swindon. That's it, yeah, Swindon 10-1. 10-1. Not bad. We then beat Crystal Palace on penalties, 1-1. A lot of penalties going on here. We then get drawn against Liverpool for the semi-final. That'll be an interesting couple of ties. Now, in the first tie, we win 1-0 with Sancho getting the winner in the 90-plus second minute. In the reverse fixture, we're at home, and we do manage to win 3-2, which means, of course, we win on aggregate. And then we're going to be playing Arsenal in the final, which we win 2-0. And with that, we win the EFL Cup for the second season in a row. The team didn't expect us to get beyond the third round for some reason, and even though we've won it, the performance bar isn't all the way to the top, so not sure what more they could have wanted from us there, but we win another bit of silverware. Again, not actually important for Glory Hunter, but at least we've got a bit of silverware for this season. Now, on to the main competition. It is Champions League time again, and these are the fixtures that we're going to be having in the league stage. A few big names there. Our first game is going to be against Barcelona, and then we play Inter, so a couple of very big fixtures straight away. And then a little bit later on, we've got Juventus and Villarreal, so not going to be easy. And like I said, our first game was at home against Barcelona, where Rashford opens the scoring in the second half. And then in the 90 plus 6th minute, we managed to get a penalty, so we win 2-0 against Barcelona. Not bad. We then beat Inter 3-0. We beat Club Brugge 1-0. And then we have our first away fixture where we beat Wolfsburg 5-0. We then have another away fixture, and this time it is against Villarreal. Of course, Evanilson scores an absolute worldie to put us in the lead, but they come back and make it 1-1 just before half-time. And unfortunately, Villarreal were not done yet. They managed to get a goal here to put themselves in the lead in the 81st minute. And then Jeremy Pino, keep that name in the back of your minds for next season. But yeah, he scores and we lose 3-1. So our first loss in the Champions League so far. But we then redeem ourselves by beating Juventus 3-2. And then we beat Galatasaray 5-0. And then we have another 5-0 win, this time against Salzburg. And with that, we have topped the Champions League league stage once again, exactly like we did last season. And for the round of 16, we've been drawn against Celtic, so should be quite an easy tie, and we do win 3-0 against them in the away fixture. And in the home fixture was just a bit of madness. Fernandes gets the first goal, Vanilson gets the second. We're about to get a third here from Pellegrini, comes off of the defender, Casemiro puts it straight into the net, and that's 3-0. Vanilson tries to get the shot, comes off the keeper, but Rashford puts it in. That's 4-0, 5-0 right there, and then right in the last minutes of the game, Rashford makes it 6. And once again, we come up against Liverpool, but this time for the quarter-final of the Champions League, and we have the away fixture first, which starts off pretty well. Rafael Varane gets a header into the net. They come off of a corner here. Frimpong passes it on to Pedro in the end, and then he makes it level. But we weren't going to settle for that, were we? Rashford gets all the way past the keeper and just passes it into net for us to win 2-1. And in the home fixture, we won 3-1. So easily through onto the semi-final. And that has not even been the semi-final yet, and we've already set a record for number of goals scored in a season with 39. I suppose we did have those two 5-0 wins, plus we won 6-0 against Celtic, so kind of expected. But for the semi-final, we've been drawn against PSG. Now, in this season so far, or in this series so far, PSG have won the Champions League, so this is not going to be easy. But in the away fixture, we win 2-1, so all we got to do is just not lose, basically, in the home fixture. And Kimpembe passes it to his keeper, but he doesn't get it. So that is an own goal scored for us immediately. But then they score an absolute worldie there to make it level. Baku basically whips it into the goal. Again, both of our goals have been really weird. Neymar pretty much chips our keeper in a penalty, and then it's 2-2. But for the final, we have been drawn against Bayern Munich. Now, it says down there that we actually did play Bayern Munich in the final back in 1999, and United won that game, so let's see if we can repeat history and win it again. And 10 minutes in, Vanilson puts hope in all of the Manchester United fans there by opening the scoring, and then Fernandes makes it 2-0. Looking good so far. Looking good. And that's 3-0 with Gorna Doth. I think we might be okay for this. Fernandes, 4-0. This is just an absolute thrashing. You wouldn't expect this in a Champions League final. With Vanilson just puts salt in the wounds. And we win the Champions League against Bayern Munich 5-0. So we've done probably the hardest part of Glory Hunter already. And we're only 4 seasons in. And that is winning the Champions League. I mean, we've won the Premier League, which arguably is quite difficult as well, depending on what team you end up in. But with all that said and done, it is time for the end of season review. And first up, we've got the transfers in. So the two best are apparently Luca Pellegrini, 30 appearances, 7 average rating. Angelo, 12 appearances, 7.05 rating. Of course, Ardagula and Trippier we also bought as well. They obviously didn't play anywhere near as much. And to be honest, given how little we've actually spent, because we didn't have any money, because we were like £300 million in debt, I'm very, very pleased with the results. Like I say, we won the Premier League, won the EFL Cup, won the Champions League, and we really didn't spend all that much money. And just another look at the Premier League table, and you can see we're right there at the top, 5 points in the clear. Once we leave Man United, I think Tottenham might be favourites for the Premier League. You know, they were really good this season. Last season, they were really good as well. So you never know. Then Champions League, of course, we just saw that. We won 5-0 against Bayern. And then this is the best lineup that we had. Overall rating for all the players above 7 for an average rating, which is absolutely fantastic. That is exactly what you want to see. Vanilson, in 50 plus 5 appearances, got 45 goals. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And then Rashford, I mean, he got 26 goals. Fernandes got 18. And then we get an email telling us what the initial budgets are for the season. And we've got a transfer budget of £151 million. That is very, very different to the transfer budget we had at the start of the season. But we are unlikely to be spending that, to be honest, because there's really no point us staying at United anymore. We've done literally all of the Glory Hunter objectives for England. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that fantastic stuff. And I will see you next time when we are very, very likely to be at a different club.